Howdy, folks. Widget Wells from needcoffee.com here. 3 Wayhomers in a weekend. This is killing me. Anyway, as promised, we're back here for another Wayhomer. Just in case you're coming on board with this as your first. In case you're a Wayhomer virgin, here's how it works. I've just seen a movie. I've left the cinema where I have done that, because that's what you do there. And I'm going to tell you about it on my way home. And this evening, we're here to talk about Fright Night. So, Fright Night. Okay, what do I start with this? We'll do the synopsis first. Okay, synopsis is thus. Got a kid living in the or near Las Vegas area, and reformed geek, so to speak. And, well, put simply, guy moves in next door. Guy turns out to be a vampire. Life becomes complicated. That's pretty much your synopsis. I mean, that's your synopsis. Of course, there's all the dealing with the, oh no, that can't really be a vampire. Oh, holy shit, it's vampire type of stuff. But that's your synopsis in a nutshell. Now, here's the thing about Fright Night. Of course, and it seemed like the people that were at this showing were very aware of the fact that it was a remake based on a particular thing that happens later in the film that was a definite callback and glorious to see. And the applause that resulted, which I won't give away, but people were aware it's a remake of a film with pretty much that same setup. And, of course, because everything's being remade, and apparently remade in 3D, I had some, well, I always have concerns about remakes, as do we all, because we've learned the hard way. But especially because I really like the first Fright Night. Roddy McDowall as a horror host, how awesome is that? You had Chris Sarandon playing a great, vampire guy, and it was just a lot of fun. And that's the thing about the first film, is that it was a fun, it was a fun vampire movie, okay, as opposed to a horror movie. There were very few horrifying moments in the first Fright Night. It was very light. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, because that it can be entertaining. You don't have to have your skin crawl off your body to enjoy a film if there's vampires in it. Okay, it can be light entertainment when it comes to like horror. Okay, horror light, less calories than regular horror. And my concern when I saw the trailers was for this one that they seemed to have completely lost any of the humor of the original. And also, oddly enough, there was very, very little of David Tennant in the trailers. Now, I think there may have been some TV spots that came later, but you guys know I don't watch television, so I never saw any of those. The film itself, first of all, let me address the whole 3D thing first. If you've ever wanted to see a film in which pretty much 90% of what they do, it's almost like they said, hey, we want you to do this in 3D. And the filmmakers went, oh, shit, we don't want to have stakes coming at people and, I don't know, coming at people and, I don't know. Let's just, every single time there's any blood on screen, let's have it go at the screen. There's your 3D. That seems like what they did. Because I swear to God, that and cinders in the air are about all you get for 3D for this. So the 3D is a complete wash. Unless you've ever thought, wow, I wish I could be in a cinema thinking that I was standing near a campfire with all the cinders dancing in the air, like little fairy lights. I wish I could have that experience. If you've longed for that experience, then Fright Night 3D is here to give it to you, okay? But otherwise, just skip the freaking 3D. Yeah. Part of the problem is that the film, it does have humor, okay? But it has rather than a nice blend of humor and light horror, or even darker horror, or harder horror, whatever you're going, extra sugary horror, whatever you want to call it. Rather than a nice blend, it was very lumpy, if that makes sense. It had bits of humor. It had exactly 2 bits of horror, I counted, okay, that were actual horrific moments that were pretty horrific and very subtle and very nice, actually, for a film like this. But you had moments of suspense, and you had thrilling moments, and you had action moments, and you had a lot of moments that made you think, hey, this is actually going to make up for all the stilted and flat dialogue and people trying to act their way out of things that don't sound like anything anywhere would say, even in a vampire movie. So you have moments that try to rise above, the source material, not the source material, but the kind of like the playing field that it's going for, this material is going for, but they're very, very lumpy, okay? So it's not a very smooth experience. It's a very up and down experience. And you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever seen a film that you're kind of about, and I don't know about you, but I want to like most films. I don't go into films wanting to hate them, because that's sort of masochistic, to pay money to go to a thing that you hope you hate, right? But you know how you've been in a film and it's just kind of meh, and then it sort of starts to kick up a little bit and you go, okay, sure, bring it, all right, let's go, let's do this, and then it just goes back down again, and you go, oh. That's this film, a lot of it. Now, what the film has going for it, apart from the nice callback to the first film, is you've got Colin Farrell, who I enjoyed. He seems to be having a blast playing sexy, creepy vampire guy, okay? And I think he does a fine job of portraying that sort of predator in a suburban environment type of thing. Shall we say, supernatural predator in a suburban environment. So, I thought he was fine. I actually enjoyed him a lot. And David Tennant is very nice. At first I thought, how do you have the balls to step in, even though this is sort of a different role from the sort of Roddy McDowall horror host thing, which makes sense because we don't really have horror hosts anymore. They were vanishing even then. How do you step into that role? And while the line that I wanted him to say from the first film never made it, then there was a new version of it, which was all right. He was funny. He really did the best that he could with the material that he was given. And I was very pleased with how he conducted himself in what's basically his, North American big movie debut, whatever. So, that was nice. And also, what you really enjoy, if you're a fan of genre films like this, is if they bring something to the table that you haven't seen before in the way of... and by the way, before I forget, if I'm remembering the film correctly, there's also a Love at First Bite callback. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but I went, oh my god, are they really going to do this? And they did it. And it seemed like completely a callback to Love at First Bite, the George Hamilton vampire film. I think I'm remembering that's the title correctly. Anyway. Wow. So, what was I talking about? Oh, you want them to bring something new and novel to the table. It could be something large like, oh, these zombies run. Or, oh, here's an interesting way to kill a werewolf. Or whatever it is in this particular genre, subgenre, whatever. It's nice when they bring something new, which lets you know, hey, we actually thought about how to make this slightly different from every other film like this before. There were 2 things that I hadn't seen before, one of which they gave away in the second trailer. They showed all of it in the second trailer, so that's pretty much a wash. And one towards the end that I went, oh, that's unique and actually kind of cool. There's that. You've got Colin Farrell, you got David Tennant, and that's pretty much it. It's just a lot of very flat, very unengaging film going on. That's just not a lot of fun. And I think that's the main thing, is that Not that I was expecting it to be fun like the first film, because I thought there's no way they're going to try to make that film completely over again, and why would you? But I wanted them to do something. I mean, if you're going to update it, you're going to make it a really horrific version of the film, fine. Balls to the wall, do it, and just do it. If you're going to make it funny, balls to the wall, funny. Just go, do whatever it is that you're going to do. It just seemed like they were doing it sort of in multiple directions, and as a result, very lumpy film. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, that's it. It's just not as good as the original, and I'm not even not liking it because of the comparison. I'm just not liking it and going. Just makes me want to go watch the first film. Cup-wise, I'm gonna give it 2 out of 5. There were things to enjoy. Catch it on DVD. Unless you're a complete David Tennant freak and you want to spend money to make the box office for this do okay so that he has an ongoing film career, and maybe that's a good enough reason. I don't know. Wait for DVD. Seriously. You won't be missing anything, and it'll be out in 3 months. So forget about it. So yeah, that's it. The remake of Fright Night. A film that can't decide what it is, but Colin Farrell and David Tennant know what they are, so that's something. Yeah, so there you go. That's what I got on this one, and this might be it's probably the last Wayhomer you'll get until after Dragon Con, because we got a lot of work to do on there. We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. So I hope you enjoyed them. We'll be back after Labor Day weekend with more of these. If you do enjoy these things, as always, I appreciate it if you can share them with someone who might also appreciate them. That's also helpful. Facebook, Google+, Twitter, all these things work. Most of them have buttons on the site, if you're watching this on the site, where you could share it with others. And that's much appreciated. Also, and you got a huge bargain this weekend with 3 Wayhomers. If you enjoy these things and you want to help contribute to the fund that goes into paying for them, which comes out of the Neat Coffee cookie jar, so to speak, you can do that one of 2 ways. You go to neatcoffee.com/support, and you can do a PayPal donation, or even set up an ongoing PayPal donation for as little as 99 cents a week, which is about what you would pay for an MP3. Or if you want to do a full-on sponsorship, you can go to neatcoffee.com/sponsorship and get goodies that way. Again, kind of like NPR, but with more spikes. So, thank you to everyone again, and we will see you on the other side of all this madness. We'll see you soon. Bye.